oftentimes in life, you don't get what you deserve.
Mhm.
You don't get what you want. You get what you are.
You're faced with multiple challenges that seem to keep you stuck and playing it safe, but yet deep down, you know you're destined for greatness. How do you break through and start winning at your life? In this episode, Shawn shares his incredible story of doing just that and succeeding in NFL, business, and in life. With 25 years of experience, Shawn Harper has earned an excellent reputation as one of the nation's leading corporate motivational speakers. He is a 7-year former NFL offensive lineman who played with the Rams, the Oilers, the Colts, and the NFL Europe, and now owns and operates American Services and Protection, a multi-million-dollar security services firm headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. His journey from grit and grime of the NFL locker room to the corporate culture of the boardroom proved that his bold worlds can be won by using the same principles and strategies. This was such an amazing conversation, and I'm so excited to share it with you. We have so many roles in our life. Maybe we're a parent, maybe we're an entrepreneur, maybe we are a business person, whatever it is, we have to show up differently for each role. And if we carry the energy from one role to the other, we're never really truly present and feel like we can give the best version of ourselves and the energy that each role of our lives deserves. And that's why I created the free transition guide. It's a guide for high achievers to learn how to release the energy from one role and really cultivate intention in being present in the next role. If this is something you struggle with, download the free guide in the show notes and enjoy the exact strategy that I use before everything that I do within my life. All right. So excited to be joined by Shawn Harper today. I know this is going to be a great conversation. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Let's go. Let's win. Let's do it.
That's right. So I was just sharing with Shawn, I just finished his book, and for anyone, definitely pick it up. It was a great read. And I want to dive right into it because I learned so much about you and just your mindset of winning. And winning is something that sometimes it feels very like arbitrary, like how do we do this in life? And I just love how you bring it down to like, let's talk about mindset. Like, where is your head at? How are you winning inside so that the outside mirrors that?
Yes.
And so can you talk about, for anyone who's listening, maybe isn't familiar with your journey, can you talk about how you started? Because it doesn't look like it does today. So
Sure.
I would love to hear how your journey went from where you were from like childhood to today, because I found it just to be so profound.
Yeah. So, I played several years professional football with the Rams and the Colts and over in NFL Europe. But, I was plagued with a number of challenges. I don't like to use the word problems. I use the word challenges because the word challenge invokes a response. And so I'll just jump right into it. I was documented with 4 to 5 learning disabilities. I had to repeat the first grade, voted most likely to fail. Left high school with a 1.62 cumulative GPA, 9 on my ACT. I'm one of 6 kids. I'm from an abusive home. My father left when I think around 3-4 years of age. I don't know the exact time frame. So there was a lot of trauma, a lot of headache, a lot of pain in that. And I remember being diagnosed with the disabilities. And I don't like to use the word disabled. I consider myself uniquely enabled, right? Because everyone has weaknesses and strengths. I mean, my goodness, like Superman has kryptonite, but you never hear Superman talking about his problems. He's always talking about possibilities. Yeah. And so I like to always keep my focus and keep my mindset moving forward. But yeah, I was plagued with a lot of challenges of barely starting in high school football, voted most likely to fail, stuttering. I mean, I stuttered my entire life. I couldn't complete a sentence till college. Kids would ask me questions just so that I could stutter, and then they could get their laugh from the day. And it was really tough being people's entertainment in a negative sense. It really brought a lot of shame. That's the word that keeps coming to me. Shame, guilt, anger, which is never the first emotion. It's always the second emotion, but there's a lot of guilt, shame, and pain in there. And I go off to a junior college. I get a phone call on the last day of school, And it's a junior college, a 2-year school in Mason City, Iowa. And the conversation is like, Shawn, come to Iowa and play football. And I literally hung up on that coach. I said, there's no way I'm going. Mm-hmm. But something began to speak deep within me, and that's the dream. And I don't know where this dream is coming from. And I just want to stop right there and just have my moment, and just to help you that oftentimes people have dreams and there's nothing on the outside that validates the call, the purpose, the plan, the destiny, and the dream that's on the inside. But when you begin to focus on your dream, when you begin to lock in on your dream, you step out of what's called creation and you move into something much, much more powerful, and that's manifestation. Whole new level, okay, going forward. And that dream began to speak. And I called the coach back, hey, coach, sorry I don't know, must got disconnected, right? And he's like, come up to Mason City, Iowa. And I go to Mason City, Iowa, and that first year at that junior college, I sit the bench the entire season, not one play. I'm holding dummies for all the starters, and people are laughing at me, and just a ton of rejection, and I'm struggling. And I call my mom. I said, Mom, I quit. I want to come home. And I'm thinking, hoping, praying. Mom's like, okay, baby, come home. I can nurture you some more. And she stopped, and she's like, no, you can't come home. She said, you have to do it, sink or swim, son. And then I had this conversation. Yes, I had a conversation with myself. I'm not crazy, maybe a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the conversation is like, you know what? I can't be successful. And I wrote down a list of things and reasons why I can't be successful. I said, but I can win. Mm-hmm. And the moment I said I can win, I begin to read my mind. You ever see those like science fiction movies where the guy walks into like a 2 million square foot warehouse and he hits one switch and the entire warehouse cuts on like shoot, 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 shoot. That was like, win. I can win. And it's so crazy because you could watch a football game, right? And you could have like the best team in the world play the sorriest team in the world, and they'll go out there and they will try to win, right? So I had that same mind shift. I can win. And the moment I said that, I begin to see obstacles as opportunities. I begin to look at things different. I begin to MacGyver life, for you old school guys and girls. I begin to MacGyver life. There's always a way to win. And I went from sitting on a bench at junior college to the next year being a first team all region, drafted into the Junior College Hall of Fame, full scholarship to Indiana University, draft day in the NFL, third pick in the 4th round. And I pushed that through my NFL career. But you know what? I began to say, well, you know what? How can I apply these winning talents, tactics, methodologies, strategies to life? So I began to apply it to business. I've been in business for over 20-something years. I studied my entire life, and I used that winning model mindset to become a motivational speaker. Now I've been married for about 24 years. Yeah, and in fact, I've infused that winning concept in my son as well. So one of my many models is, if life is a game, you play the game to win. It's not about success, it's about winning. And that is in a nutshell.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. And it's just so profound, like where you make that shift from feeling like, everything's going wrong in your life, the universe is working against you and nothing, you're not a winner. And then to shift to a point where you're in that winning mindset, it's just like, it's just the epitome of how your internal world creates your external world.
Yes.
And I just love that. I mean, it's such a profound statement. I remember reading in your book, you talked about something you said, there was a statement that you said, but just like the struggles as you were a kid, and you would tell yourself like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And those things resonate, but then now you've shifted it to like, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to win. And I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oftentimes in life, you don't get what you deserve. Mm-hmm. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. All actions stem from thoughts. All thoughts come from your belief system. And that's for about 99% of all the success teachers and motivational teachers. They stop right there. But there's one more level, and that is that all beliefs come from who you are, your self-concept. A guy named Maxwell Maltz wrote this book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I encourage everyone to get that book. I'm a plug for him, okay? It was a book written in the 50s, and he talks about your self-concept, the core of who you are, I remember one time I was in Juneau, Alaska. Okay, don't ask. I'm in Alaska, right? And I was actually speaking for the Rotary, a great organization, by the way, good plug. So I'm speaking, but they want to show me around, which is so great. So I'm on one of these big lakes, and I see this hatchery. They have like millions of salmon in these little drones, right? These drums, right? And then out in the Bay Area, there's this, I guess it looked like a tugboat, and it was driving in a circle, riding in a circle, riding in a circle, riding. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, this guy's drunk. What's he doing? He said, no. He said, no. He said, no. He said, what we're doing is that we're marking the salmon. I'm like, what? He said, we're marking the salmon. So what does that mean? He said, so what we're going to do is drive around, and the salmon will get used to the water, the magnetic field, or whatever it is. And then we're going to take it out to the ocean area, and then we're going to let it go. And millions of them are going to take off. And about a year, 2 years, I don't know, time later, they're all going to swim back to the same location. And we're going to drop the net, and then we're going to catch it, and it's going to be called wild-caught salmon. And I'm like, whoa. And so many times, we get marked at a young age. We get marked for unbelief or unworthiness. We get marked for failure, or we get marked for just being average. When we're younger, we're climbers. And then as we get older, we become campers, and some of us become quitters, right? So we get stamped and marked at a young age, and you will never breach that until you change your internal mechanism and your GPS.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And so you gravitate back to what's most familiar. So if you live with that over and over again, you continually go back to that. How did you start to move yourself? I know you said I'm a winner, but like what did that look like as you started to change your subconscious beliefs about yourself that you really truly are a winner, and started to cultivate evidence that showed that?
Death and life is in the power of the tongue, and you shall eat the fruit thereof. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I began speaking it. Now this is, man, listen, people charge like $100,000 for what I'm about to share. Okay. I need you to turn the radio up on this one. Okay. I begin to speak it. Okay. And then as I begin to speak it, next I begin to see it. So what happens is that when you begin to speak the words, it's like a force. You begin to create it out of the abstract. Then what happens from there, you begin to see it. So if you look on my wall right now, right, all these motivational posts, this is my kitchen. Okay. So, you begin to see it. So now I'm programming myself to see it, sort of like if I were to mention the word red Corvette or just Corvette, and I said Corvette, and you start focusing on a Corvette, I guarantee before the day is out, driving in an average city, you'll see no less than 15 to 20 Corvettes. They were always there.
Yeah.
The reticular activation system never locked in on that. So now I'm speaking win. Now I'm noticing the win, and I'm getting the, and I'm finding the resistance. You gotta praise the sprouts, the small wins. Okay, I'm winning. Now you're shifting your focus. Now you're changing your focus. Now you're changing your energy. Now that faith, now that intention is moving out, and now you move towards it, but yet also it's moving towards you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you can step into it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yes. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, but he talks. Yeah. So definitely,
really? Write that down.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, he has quite a few books, but one is Supernatural, but he talks about this. How you have the thoughts, you attach beliefs to it, and then you attach emotion. Now that emotion starts to change the whole field in which you're operating in. And it really, there's a scientific basis and there's also spiritual basis, but it's that quantum field that that you speak of. And it's so true. And unless we're intentional with what we put in our mind, we tend to move in kind of a negative direction. So we have to keep this right. So for everything else to be right.
Yes. And then the bonus is you have to be intentional with your environment. And particularly you have to, it's like, you can't share your dreams with everyone.
Absolutely.
You can't share your goal because sometimes they can nod, but their energy is like whatever.
Yeah.
And that can conflict in your field, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
You need like about maybe one or two people. You need maybe, maybe one or two people who are called to the vision and who are called to you. Share your dreams with them. They've always had your back. They've always encouraged you. Share your dreams with them. And then allow them to massage the dream, and then you come into agreement. Because oftentimes you can have the seed of the dream, but you need somebody else to help incubate it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is why athletes have groupies. You ever wondered why an athlete would have groupies around him or her? And it's just male or female. It's just people are like, man, you're awesome. I believe in you. I mean, the old English days, you had the king's court and the guy's like, oh, your highness, or corporate America. Think about this. Corporate America, you got the schmoozer, or the politicians and entertainers. You had the entourage, because they're always speaking life. They're speaking life. They're speaking life to the dream, life to the dream, life to the dream. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So true. It's such a great way to put it too. It's like seeing in all aspects of life, like the people who rise up, and no matter what field it is, that they have that energy and that momentum in their favor. And it's like a big boulder. Sometimes it's hard to get going, but once you get that going, it's just, you got momentum in your favor and you just keep down that direction.
I love the word you used, momentum.
Yeah.
That's extremely important, because before you can have a movement, you have to build your momentum. First, you have the motion, then you build momentum, then you'll have a movement, like a 747. Like I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow, right? I'm flying to an undisclosed city to do some speaking, right? And it's, when that bad boy first takes off, it takes off so slow. Within about 10 seconds, it's about 25 to 28 seconds, it's in the air. It's built that much momentum.
Yeah.
So people get discouraged when we see a little bit of motion. That's when you praise and you speak life over the sprouts and you celebrate everything. Every little victory you get, you celebrate, because that's how you build your momentum. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that too, because a lot of times people have a misconception, like I got to go hard on myself and really, but it's actually, there's a science to that too, that you get dopamine every time you celebrate your successes.
Yes.
And now that dopamine, it keeps the reward centers going, the motivation, and it just keeps that motivation going. So like, there's a real science to everything you're saying with that as well. So yeah.
I'm just trying to move because they're back there cutting the grass right now. I want you to hear.
Yeah, no problem. So I want to kind of jump into talk about failures, because failures are part of the process. And a lot of times people think that failures are something that derails them. But like when you have the mentality around failures that serves you, it can really be a big momentum forward. Can you talk about failures that you've experienced and how you've used them to cultivate growth?
I tell you what, probably one of the biggest knocks I have against our educational system is that how they put a premium on failure. Like failure is such a big deal. You don't want to get an F on the test. You don't want to fail. It's like the sky is cracked and like, you failed. And it's just like the world is ended, right? And then they put an F on your test. They may offer maybe a little bit of help, watch a video, and then they go to the next one. But a large portion of education is built on top of each other, right? It wrote or whatever, and it's like stacked on top of each other. Like, well, if you don't know this, then you daggone sure not going to know multiplication if you don't know division, right? And it's built on top, and so a kid gets stuck. A kid stuck in the third grade, man. It's it. Yeah. So I don't like that. I'd rather use the term course correction, or there has to be a redemption in the failure. So my son went to one of these like affluent high schools, right? And he got an F on his test. And everyone's like, I'm sorry. Okay, true confession. I'm up mad. I'm like, you got an F? you got an F, like the world's ending, right? And he calmly looks at me like, Dad, no. If I make a couple adjustments, I can send it back and I'll get half credit and I'll get like a C. Yeah. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. But what I realized is that they're teaching these kids to push past failure. They're teaching these kids the science of course correction and how failure is your friend and that you should embrace it on your way to perfection. In fact, if you go to Google, anybody, you type in millionaire bankruptcy, and it'll say that the average millionaire has filed for bankruptcy 3.5 times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the process. And it's like we have to almost plan for failure or plan for setbacks because that is a part of the process. Nothing is a linear journey. And it's like when we can plan for it, yeah, exactly. It's all the mentality around it. But we can either choose to let it derail us, or we can choose to let it kind of be like a slingshot. You pull back, you get slingshot even further with that.
Yes.
So yeah,
I love that.
100%.
So if you Google the greatest basketball shooters of all time, the highest percentage, they're the ones who missed the most shots.
Yeah.
Well, not the highest percentage, the higher number of shots made. They are the ones like Kobe's in the top 3.
Yeah.
Jordan's in the top 5. LeBron James is up there.
Yeah.
Because they learn how to push past failure. Failure is their friend.
Yeah. Well, that gives you information. It's like when you fail, that's the information that your brain can use to change it. But if you never fail, which never really is realistic, you don't have information. You just know there's no feedback for you.
So it's even worse than not being realistic. It becomes people's reality to the point that they play it so safe in life. They never take chance. They never take risk. They're like, oh, no, I can't do that. No way. Can't, because I'll fail. And then if I fail, subconsciously, I'll be shunned by all my friends and my parents and my teacher. And it plays on people. So guess what? We live in a prison. Like I used to do, and I still do a lot of school assemblies, right? And, and I would do a school assembly for someone in 4th and 5th grade. The kids are jumping up and down. Oh, they don't care about, they just, who cares, having fun. Then I do this, and then the same program for the 8th and 9th graders, and they're like this, scared, scared.
Yeah.
All in the name of conformity.
Oh my gosh.
They sacrifice a lot. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like the kids, they have a dream, they have creativity, they have spirit. Like I have a 4-year-old and 11-month-old, and it's like they just see everything as an opportunity. And it's like the more we get into that conformity, we kind of die inside a little bit. It's like we try to become something that the world tells us to be instead of who we authentically are and who we were destined to be and what our purpose is here in life. And that's I think the saddest thing is that many people go through life and never even discover what their true purpose is and who they're here to serve. Yeah. How did you overcome some of your fears in moving forward and getting out of, or at least taking the risk to do some things that maybe were uncomfortable for you?
Well, the good thing of not being a good student in school is that it wasn't meant for me. So me being a conformist or someone to conform, it just didn't work for me. Like, to be honest, I was probably supposed to have dropped out in the 9th grade and went somewhere and just, because school did not, and it still doesn't work for me. I asked too many questions. So that natural adventure was there. Now I have, matured and I've gotten older. And so I'm a bit more careful, but it's still there. And and I take chances and I jump off a little like philosophical ledges, and I do my thing. And then, you know what? There's some times where I get kind of intimidated. So then I run and I tell other people how to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's just honest, you know. You know, look, I'm gonna do it as much as I can, but you know what? You know, you're 18 and you're 19, you're a freshman in college. Look, go change the world right now, bro.
Yeah.
You know, go out there, do it. You know, hey, I'll write you a check. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
For someone who's like listening is like maybe in a place where they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm not happy in life. I feel stuck. I'm in a really tough place. Like, what's something you would tell somebody to do today? Like, what's the
Yeah.
smallest step forward someone could take?
Become unstuck in your mind first.
Yeah.
Realize there was this prisoner, right?
Mhm.
There was this, I think he was in prison for like 20 plus years. And I think he had a life sentence until one day he just started laughing. And he was like, why is this guy like, he laughed for like hours.
Mhm.
And he realized, he said, I'm not in prison. You guys are in prison with me.
Mhm.
And when he changed his mindset, his mind shift,
Mhm.
he changed the world. The guy's name is Nelson Mandela.
Mhm.
It's like, no. So realize that, no, you're not in a prison. You don't have to be in prison. You get to be in prison. It's a privilege. It's a mindset. So since I'm here, why don't I be free within the confines of my environment and manifest freedom that way? So first, you got to become free within yourself. You got to become free within your mind. Then you have to experience freedom. And the best way, honestly, to experience freedom, I mean, I do it all the time, is I watch like videos of traveling and TikTok videos of, I mean, I have countries I've never been before, I didn't even heard, you know, and eating, people drinking coffee in Bangladesh. And I'm just like, wow, right? So guess what? What is that doing? Is activating the reticular activation system. Now I'm just like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can go there. I can, yeah, why not? And the next thing you know, I start creating that friction, creating that motion, creating that momentum, and then manifestation, and it happens.
Yeah, I love that. It's such good actionable tips because it's something someone could do. Just start exposing yourself to
Yes.
possibilities. Like it's so easy to get stuck in a box and be doing the same thing, the same
Yeah.
routines, people,
Yeah.
same environment.
Like,
Yeah.
like I challenge, well, I don't want to challenge you because
Mhm.
somebody, because you know, it could hurt somebody. But one of the things that I do is I I intentionally drive a different way to work. Right.
Yeah.
You got the same way to work every single day. It's like, man, it's like you could do it in your sleep. I'm like, I'm gonna take this route to work. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
look at this. I'm like, I feel different. You know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna walk up the stairs. Like, hey, how are you? You work here? I'm like, man, you know. So I just and be intentional of just cracking and breaking patterns
Mhm.
and just patterns. Tonight, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the greatest opportunities came as a result of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's like even just brushing your teeth with the other hand, just something different. It could be the smallest thing, but just something different. And that's
Yeah.
such a great point you make because it literally is just breaking those patterns, rewiring the brain. And that's the beauty of the brain is that it's plastic. It is always changing. Every single thing you do, every person you talk to is going to change your brain. So
Yep.
whoever's listening to this, your brain will be different after listening to this conversation than it was a half hour ago. And that's the
Yep.
beauty of it.
I
Everything
love,
you expose yourself to.
indeed. I love it.
Yeah. For someone who wanted to connect with you and follow you,
Sure.
where can they find you?
My website is ShawnHarperWins.com. Please go to my website. I got videos on there. My Instagram is Shawn Harper Speaker. I'm about to launch this coaching course. You know, just go to my information or contact and type in the word coach in there because I'm about to just start really coaching people on this whole winning concept.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's so needed.
Yeah.
There's so much need for this, especially now where people are feeling like divisive and very
Yes.
down on the down and feeling like they're stuck, feeling like there's no opportunities, focusing on everything that's going on around them that's not within their control. So I
Yes.
think that's amazing that you're coming out with that. And I definitely encourage everyone to check out Shawn Harper's website and follow you and definitely read his book. This is
Winologist. Yeah.
Yes, it was tremendous, and I really recommend it. There were so many things I was going through with a highlighter. I'm like, man, it's just like certain statements you said. I'm just like, gosh, you could write this on your walls, just to live by. So
Mm.
highly recommend that. It was just such a great book. So
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for being here. It's just been such an honor to have you on. And I
Yeah.
know that this conversation is going to help somebody and help move them forward. So thank you.
Listen, that is my prayer. And my parting phrase is that in life you will get knocked down. You will get knocked down.
Mhm,
But if you can look up, baby, you can get up.
mhm.
Don't play to be successful, play to win.
Oh, I love that. Rewind that and repeat that if you're listening to this, because that is amazing. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. And for anyone who's listening, if you've gained value from this, share this with a friend. Don't keep this to yourself. Share this conversation with someone else who could also benefit from it. And the more we share conversations like this, the more we can elevate everyone's energy around us and create that field of growth
Yes.
within each other. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Be blessed.
You too. Hey there. Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope it serves you well to start rewiring your brain to create the life you desire. If you found value in this, please share it with a friend and tag me on Facebook or Instagram at Dr. Kelly Kessler.